Do you know how hard it is to make videos when you just don't really enjoy playing against casuals and rentals on weekends anymore? That's like 40% of Airsoft content. Whatever. I don't believe anyone has done a video on this specific topic before. We are going to kind of go over the money of YouTube. Like I'm making anything that big. Anyway, before you can monetize a YouTube channel, you got to hit two things. You need 1,000 subscribers, and then you need 5,000, minimum 5,000 publicly watched hours. Basically, people have to watch 5,000 of hours worth of your content. When a video gets marked as limited, what it basically means is it's not demonetized, but they're really not going to try very hard to pair it with advertisements, basically. Here's the thing about YouTube and guns. They basically hate them. That's kind of an exaggerated way to describe it, but in a nutshell, YouTube does not like guns. Instagram and Facebook do not like guns. But they're not going to completely remove those things from their platforms because they still need attention, so they could still draw in ad revenue. So if you have Airsoft content, it's probably going to get flagged depending on kind of basically the specifics of the video, for lack of. YouTube sucks at the specifics and then reinforcing those specific. They suck. They mostly use algorithms, and the algorithms suck. I've requested a review for every limited video that I have, because if you can find their actual terms and conditions for Airsoft content, as long as I'm not harming unwilling participants, as long as I'm not doing anything unsafe. So by their definitions, and I tried to pull it up on Google for like 30 seconds, I couldn't find it. By YouTube's own definition, if you're at a field, playing on a field with other willing participants, it's supposed to be okay. But it's, you can see right here, the Ronin T10 accuracy video is limited. It has limited monetization right here. Caveat is because I am over 8 minutes, so I did get to actually add some ads in. But if we look at the raw numbers of 28 cents, 12 cents, and 7.48, also keep in mind, this is going to be higher, I think, because I've actually added ads in, because this video is long enough for me to do that. When we look at my What is Speedsoft video, this guy, at 2,700 views, we see a huge difference. $1.22 versus 28 cents, 45 cents versus 12 cents, and $6.84 versus 7.48. But also keep in mind that because this video is under 8 minutes, I'm not able to actually add in any ads. Anything that's 8 minutes or more, you can add some extra sprinkles to the cake to make it a little sweeter. That's why this video is made a little bit more. But if you look at just how much the video is worth without anything that I can actually interfere with, there's a big difference between a video being and not being monetized. So here's the SSG1 full review, which is 10 minutes. And then here, but it is not limited to monetization. Here is a video, the SC Village video I did with 4,000 views, which is also 10 minutes. So the limited video has about almost 1,000 more views than my SSG1 video, and they're about the same length of time. Here's what the SSG1 full review video is making me for money right now. We're at a 428 estimated total, $1.25 RPM, with a CPM of $8.03 at 10 minutes and 10 seconds. When we go to the my Airsoft Ref React to Aggressive Play video, which is limited, 8 cents. That's probably a better, more accurate description of why that's such a big deal. This video's not really making a lot of money. What that means for you, try not to focus on what will and will not be monetized, because it's too hard to predict what's going to happen. Because YouTube just doesn't have its stuff together, and it's such a big organization, they're not gonna care about some up-and-coming dude. If you're out there watching this video and going, oh, because of the limited monetization, because I can't make crazy money, I'm not gonna make YouTube videos, your content was gonna suck anyway. It was gonna be super cringe, no one's gonna want to watch it, probably not going to last very long, just being real. It really took me about 2 years, give or take, of moderate level effort before I was able to monetize or really do anything big with it. Keep in mind that just because I had a YouTube channel doesn't mean that I was only using that YouTube channel to advertise the YouTube channel. So keep in mind, I've also done networking. So I do stuff with KWA. I do stuff with the field. I've gone to different fields and done things there. So we'll talk about kind of branding and networking and how to get into that. But here is the first video I really put up, which was in February of 2018. If you look at the views, it really doesn't hit. There's like, so the yelling at kids got popular. There's another yelling at kids video that got popular that broke 100. But if you look at the numbers, the views, I mean, I really wasn't breaking 100 unless I was kind of doing something extreme. But if we really go back to the very beginning of my YouTube channel, I really didn't start taking this seriously until, wow, March of last year. Okay. You can see this is where I got my Yeti. This is where I started focusing on thumbnails and backgrounds. This was the first video that I really took seriously, which was in March of 2019. This was when I started going to community college. This was during my first semester of going back to college. So remember, if we go back in time to what I was doing in my life, I had already left law enforcement. So I didn't have a full-time job. I was going to college, still going to college, living off GI Bill, VA disability. So I had the time to actually take this seriously, and I could devote some funds into it. That's why I focused on my background. I got a Yeti, blah, blah, blah. But if we look at the quality, I hadn't quite figured out settings yet, because this doesn't go any higher than 480. So realistically, from March 2019 is when I really started to try and take YouTube videos seriously, and here we are in November of 2020. Well, we'll kind of go into the branding of how I was able to do this, but as far as just YouTube and videos, I really started to focus on this in about March of 2019. I started with vlogs basically. All I was doing was just talking about issues because that's where I got famous, and Instagram was doing 1-minute rants, so I just started doing rants for YouTube videos. The first one that really got big was when LTD got banned from Tax City last year. That was last year? Wow. That hit, if you look at the numbers, wasn't really doing much past 100, and then boom, 438. Same thing. Anytime I would talk about SpeedQB or Tax City, which are two very big names in the industry, boom, look at the numbers I would put up compared to what I was doing previously. So you kind of have to figure out what hits and what doesn't. The first video for me that got really big was the first and only time I went to GamePod. It was the 2 GamePod fiasco videos, here and here. Those were the first 2 videos that got big because GamePod is a huge field. A lot of people from my Instagram saw it and followed it, and it was an interesting story. So those are the first 2 videos that really got big, and from there, that kind of pushed me into a little bit more popularity circles, I guess. I don't know. This was the first video for me that really took off, and it's still taking off to this day. It's still, I'm at 1,500, and this is about a year or so old, and I haven't monetized. So it took me about 5 or 6 months before I really started figuring out what I was doing as far as editing and quality and my background and specifics and using, blah, blah, blah. It took me about 5 to 6 months to really figure out what the heck I was doing before I was coming anywhere near triple-digit numbers. Fast forward to present day. This is what I'm doing for money right now. So let's change this to the last 90 days. So I monetized back in, I think, like September, somewhere in there. So yeah, September. So if you look at the analytics, nothing, and then boop, started making money around the 20th or so of September. So since then, I have made $35 whole. This is what my statistics look like. This is pretty good. If we look at my most popular videos, that stupid Power Ops Mag Dump Airsoft thing is at 36,000, and I have packed it with ads. This is what's making me the most money. These are where my ads are. This is what it looks like when you monetize a video. You have 2 options. You can either automatically let YouTube just sort of use an algorithm and play stuff in there, or you can manually do it. If that video is 8 minutes or longer, you can add what they call mid-rolls, and you can physically add ad breaks in here. Like, watch right now. You want to watch me put in 2 ads? I just added 2 ads to the beginning of that video. Continue, save, boomska. Some of the styles that are more popular for videos that I've noticed, one is the extreme stuff, your fights, your mag dumps, your flip outs, blah 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 blah, any of your world star and airsoft style videos. If you notice, I have my T6 review video, my T10 review video, my SSG review video are pretty poppin'. Also, my Mod 1's doing okay for that video. Some of my different T10 stuff down in here. My other SSG videos are all pretty popular. Fun fact, when I dropped my SSG 1 video right in here on the 5th, it did 1,000 in about 24 to 48 hours. I broke 1,000 views, roundabout in there. It skyrocketed once Demo released his videos. Let's talk about analytics. Let's talk about search engine optimization. If you don't have keywords, specific keywords that are going to help people find those videos, nothing's going to take off. The program I use, I'll go into in a second, that helps me. It's called TubeBuddy. I'll go into how that works. Ignore these numbers. Actually, all of these videos should have numbers with it, but sometimes it lags and it won't lag. But I started the video with all of these tags in it as me. It took off when Demo dropped his video because he has such a huge following. Anything he does is going to take off. So I basically kind of rode that Demo wave because I dropped my video, I think, a day or 2 before he did. I did it before him, but he actually knows what he's doing, and he's got like a freaking doctorate's degree in how to do this thing. So when he dropped his video, it blew up overnight. The whole reason I bought the SSG-1 was to make videos for it, and then I was just going to sell it to some kid because I thought it was going to suck as a gun. Spoiler alert, that's actually my primary gun right now that I use. Sorry, KWA. But if you don't know how to use tags, your video's not going to go anywhere. Some of the non-specific gun stuff that I've done that takes off, usually some of my Airsoft Ref Reacts videos do good, like right in here, where I react to the SC Village thing, my aggressive / full auto react video, the part 2 video I did about his apology, that had nothing to do with anything. Well, me explaining what Speedsoft was pretty good. The other Airsoft Ref video, me just talking about the 47 before I didn't even have it. So you can do Airsoft content that will be popular beyond just the course and scope of guns and playing. I don't really like doing those videos so much because a lot of people do that. It's such a popular style of content. I'm not a huge fan of it, so I try not to do that unless I feel like I'm doing something specific. For instance, I did a 3-minute video just on the SSG-1 trigger, right here. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't me on the field with it. It was me in the backyard comparing the trigger response and the speed and giving my personal opinion, comparing it to a Raider 2.0 and a Firehawk. That was it. But bro, look at the numbers. 1,600 views. And it's a 3-minute video. It's not doing a whole lot. I'll go into what limited means in a second. I do have some plans coming up for some gas guns. I'm going to do some GBBR stuff, but it's going to review the gun from a training use standpoint, because so many people are like, oh, what's that gun like against a Renault? Okay, I'll probably end up doing that for the LM4D when I get my hands on it, just because that gun isn't out yet anywhere. I think I'll be actually the only one that'll have that gun, or at least have content on that gun, and that's kind of a popular format anyway. So I do that for attention. I'm not gonna lie. That T6 style video I did, the T10 style video, when I'm doing a conventional gun review video, it's for views. Obviously I'm gonna have fun with it. That's why I usually just give it to kids. Like, I don't really, just like, hey, you want to play with this gun? Okay, go play with this gun, wear my dye, take my GoPro, film it and let me get your opinion of it afterwards. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna do that like 3 or 4 times, slap that together, add some personal tidbits here and there, and call it a gun review video. Apparently that style hits. It's what I did for the T6, what I did for the Mod 1, it's what I did for the T10. As a content creator, the quarantine was significant for me because it forced me to go out of the norm. I had to think of how can I make videos that are fun to watch, educational, blah, 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 informative, but the field is closed. How do I do this? Well, at the time of quarantine, the T10 was about to drop. So KWA sent me a demo T10 that I could use for videos and stuff. So it was supposed to circle like to a bunch of other different KWA ambassadors and all this other stuff. But once the shutdown hit, or once the quarantine hit, I had that T10 for like, I think 3 weeks, almost a month. So I just went in the backyard and thought, okay, what can I do with this rifle in my backyard? That's where this old range was born. All I did here was just shoot it in the backyard. I just ran it like how I would zero a rifle at 75 and 100 feet, and people liked it. I did some glass house drills in the backyard, and people liked it. I later did a full review. I think I did this once. Oh, I did this before quarantine. So this dropped before the quarantine because I took it to the city. WAG held it. I took it to the field's birthday, all that stuff. And the first one that I really did was I compared it against a TM recoil shock. Granted, it was an M4, but I didn't care because I wanted to make videos, because I wanted to get practice. I don't care if the video sucks. I need the practice. So that's what I did. And it worked. All my T10 videos are very popular. I have kids that tell me, yo, like, you're the reason that I bought a T10. Like, really? Thanks. That's so nice. It really helps to have some sort of unique perspective on things because you're going to get a more niche audience, or you're going to really be able to focus down in on stuff, if that makes sense, I guess. One of the things I specifically try to do is airsoft as a firearms training supplement. That's really what I really don't care about, like playing on the field against like Reynolds and kids. Look, man, that's not my thing. That's not what makes me happy. What I really go for is how can I take an airsoft gun and make my buddies better shots. Does that make sense? And running on tournament. So I do love playing tournament style rounds, and that's basically it. I'm going to do a separate video on kind of what makes my engine rev in airsoft as a player. But I try and do the airsoft business side of the house and training. Those are what I feel my two specialties are. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm also trying to have more of a realistic, practical side. Like, check out all these different optics that don't do anything. Like, I don't care about that. It's not gonna matter. I want to take a gun and see what I can do from a performance standpoint on the field. That's how I roll. But that's how I did it. So go away.
Caber, who the f are you, nerd?